So the first couple videos, part one and part two, was just kind of the reason why I'm doing these videos, right? Like I said before, initially for my children, um, and hope and maybe it'll be a benefit to others because obviously I'm posting in different social media platforms. Um, but also, because I want to touch on different topics that I hope that my children, when they get older, they'll hear if I'm not here to tell them about it or converse with them about issues, that they'll see, okay, what would dad think about in this situation? Dad's not perfect, but dad, likes to think about different issues too. And also, I think it's just so important that they understand the older that they get, on how to think and not just what to think, right? And I think that's the reason why we also have a lot of polarization going on in Western society and in the United States of America, because many of us, public school background, homeschool background, religious background, I don't care. You're taught what to think. You're not, and I don't mean, and I know some people say, well, you should question everything. Not necessarily. I don't necessarily mean question everything, but I do mean knowing how to think, one. Two, realizing that there are other people with other views outside of yours. So sometimes you may even give them a hearing. But don't just take people's words because they are so smart or what have you, or it seems to come across well, and take their views to be the truth automatically, right? Even if just because they have an opposing view and it sounds good doesn't necessarily make it right. Even if they are able to articulate it very well. So, for example, on this particular conversation that I'm having with my children, if you're ever watching this video, I'm going to talk about race just briefly. There was a very successful entertainer, TV host, what have you, who came out recently with a lot of controversy because of his views on race, right? And anybody who's watching this video, I'm not going to say the name of the people, but anybody who's watching this video will know who I'm talking about. But this person's come out and basically espoused his views on race, where he kind of sees basically Caucasian people, and he's fired for anti-Semitic views. But oddly enough, he wasn't fired for the views about Caucasian people. But anyway, it's neither here nor there at this moment. And his views about Caucasian people being kind of closer to savages and closer to animals, right? And here's my thing with that. I'm not going to even hit so much why I think that's a falsehood. But here's the thing that I always find interesting about race. The reason why I think a part of we have so much polarization in our country, especially about race, is because we make everything racial. We put everything in the bag of racism or something to do with race. Yes, a lot of us, I think probably most of us, maybe not all of us, have probably some form of bias within our makeup. It's just the way we're raised to some degree, the way we think about things, the way we see people. But when it comes to race, Elaina and Elijah, I'm talking to my children, okay? When it comes to race, I always want you to know that Daddy just tried to live his life colorblind. Now, that doesn't mean that Daddy looks in the mirror and doesn't see himself as an African American or dismisses his hair, because I hate myself. No, I don't hate myself. I don't. Yeah, you all are African American. Your mother's African American. Okay, but when it comes to race, don't let your physical aspects of yourself define you so much, right? That great quote from Dr. Martin Luther King, that he hoped that one day his and I'm going to destroy the quote because I don't have it in front of me, but he didn't want his children to be defined by the color of their skin or by the content of their character, because that's supposed to mean something. We all judge, and we all have some form of bias, but it's danger to let that be the main aspect of the way you see people and see others. Now, here's the thing also to add about that very quickly, is that, like my father told me when I was a child, I used to say, Dad, I want to be colorblind because I don't understand why color is so important. I never forget him saying to me, son, I don't want you just to be colorblind. I want you to be color conscious because it means something to the rest of the world. Thanks.